Never been in a fight outside of work, a physical confrontation. 17 years of the old job, definitely tussled. Was involved in many tussles, watched many tussles, broke up many tussles, started some tussles, finished some tussles, tussled. A lot of fun sometimes. Talked about that in a big, important social way. I've talked about it in, sometimes it just feels good to punch, and kick and throw. But I never done it outside the confines of work. That's not who I am. I do have spouts and bits of rage. I try to be nice to everyone out there. I try to give them an olive branch. Life doesn't always work that way. One time got really mad at a valet, and I love valets. They do good work. Even the ones that probably steal my want and drive it around listening to Star Wars music, which I do have CDs of that in my car, and I still have a CD player in my car. I'm always, I always want to be nice to the common folk, right? Because I'm common. I'm very base. Is that the term? Mid's good. Right? Is mid good? I don't know. You know where I get. And one time I had to go to a medical center, and it was very unclear. I didn't know that it was a valet. If I'd known, I absolutely would have given my keys to someone. I parked. I didn't see anyone. I had parked in front of a car, and then I went in, and I came out, 45 minutes later, and everyone was upset at me. And the guy started screaming at me, how dare I do this, and wanted $2. I gave him the $2 because I immediately saw what I did wrong. But then I was kind of like, go fuck yourself. No one was here. That's not my fault. I'm sorry I blocked in that car. You got it out. I don't know how. Maybe they drove it over my Camry. But didn't mean for this to happen. And that was the only time, we were struggling. He was trying to keep my door from closing, and I was like, that ain't happening today, sport. I didn't say sport, but I wish I did. Sport's one of my favorite terms to someone. It's so wonderfully dismissive. Again, not saying I'm right. This is dark Jedi energy. Or we call those Sith. There's no gray Jedi. Don't let anyone with a YouTube channel tell you that gray Jedi are a real thing. They don't understand Star Wars. Anyways, that was a close time. Some of that, there's tense moments, but that ain't me, man. Like the turtles sing. It ain't me, babe. Whoa, whoa. No. Today, this morning, the time of this recording, a rainy Tuesday in Burbank. Actually, I was in Glendale proper, or suburbs of Glendale, Glendale is a suburb. Okay, stop that, Ken. It was a rainy morning. I was meeting someone for breakfast. I'll shout him out. He's a listener of the show, the wonderful Mike Fink. He was in town for work. We were going to meet up to have a meetup. It's not a Patreon tier. You don't get that. Well, I can name an amount if you want to do that. But he's a swell cat, and I was excited, and I was not running late. We both were kind of running slightly late because of travel and rain. It was rain. What I say was, it was not like it never rains in Southern California, but girl, don't they warn you rain. It was a problem rain. And I get to this little strip of Glendale where there's this coffee shop and breakfast bar, and they're shooting a movie, Hollywood, and they took all the fucking parking. And this tiny little block, it's a quaint little Gilmore Girls stretch of downtown in one block of Glendale, and the rest is all houses. So the Hollywood production, those big wigs down at H-Wood, took all the parking and had to park 2 blocks away. So I was grumpy, not grumpy that I was there, but I was grumpy I was also running late because I knew I didn't have all the time in the world to sit there and have a coffee and what I had, a breakfast burrito. He didn't have anything. He stared at me. He stared at me as I just ate that burrito like it was some sort of food challenge on an island reality game. And I had to park down the street. They had blocked off, cones everywhere. You can't park here, can't park. Only crew. And by the way, great. Good for you. I don't mind a little walk. But it was sideways rain. So I was grumpy. And I get out. I'm walking. You all don't know. This is very like a SNL California sketch. Glendale, the city, the area surrounding the actual downtown of Glendale, the neighborhoods have horribly small streets. You could tell where Burbank and Glendale start and end. The street signs change, of course, as they do in every city. But the streets go from, I can move 3 cars down the road at the same time. This is great, to Glendale's it's a one-way lane, but it's not supposed to be. So I had to walk in the street because it was pouring rain. There was mud on the other side. I'm setting the scene. And I'm walking around cars that are parked, and the car's driving by me. It's cutting it close, but no one was afraid for my life. And then I look around and I stop because there's a pickup truck, a big one of those 4x4, good with woodworking, but probably where they wanted to be on January 6th pickup trucks. And I wait and I see there's another car, and it's easier for them to go around. I appreciated the effort to stop. It was go around, keep going, stay alive, I will find you, and I'll just do my thing. And he did the wait. He waited. Now, I'll say that. Nice. Very nice. Didn't want to hit me. I'm the a-hole in this scenario from what I'm about to tell you. But it upset me because it was like, logistically, that don't work, pal. Sport. Keep going. Because this is a big pickup truck, which I'm upset about. You're in a car. You're going to go faster. I'm in sneakers in the rain. Just go, man. Just go. I appreciate it. Go. So I waited. My mistake was, because I was not thinking when I was grumpy, I should have given the, a yeah or thumbs up. Hey, because I do that a lot. Intersections, even if I have the right of way and it's a stop sign-based intersection, okay, you go. I know where I'm going. I'm not in a rush. You get on with your life, right? That's you get on with your life. I was kind of doing that. I was like, you get on with your life. But he didn't. He was trying to be nice. But then it was two dudes in a standoff. So he was not moving. And I was not moving. And I'm kind of ignoring him. But then he flashes his lights. Again, I'll take it on the surface. He's just saying, hey, I'm letting you go, man. But the flash of the lights was done in that hey, fuck stick, I'm letting you go. So I look at him and I'm like, hey, dipwad, I'm letting you go. And I square my shoulders and I look at him in his car and I'm just staring at him. And I'm staring, and he doesn't go, and there's this tension building, and then there's hand gestures, and then finally he slow rolls by me, mad dogging me, used to say, and I don't mad dog, I just motherfuck. And I thought in the back of my head, I thought, if he stops and he gets out and we got a road rage incident, this would be on me. He started from the point, whether he was in a rush or he was an asshole, doesn't matter. He morally and perhaps legally, he was giving me the right of way and his intentions were good. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. But I didn't want it. I just was that was the mood I was in. In the back of my head, I thought, this might go into a fight. This might happen. Am I wearing the right hat for it? Also, of all the fights to start in the public outside of my old job, this ain't the one, Chief. It ain't it. He kept going. Because in the back of his head, he's probably thinking, it's raining hard. I'm not getting out of this car to kick that guy's ass. Which, by the way, I don't know if that would have been the case. That's all I'll say. But he drove and I kept walking. And I calmed down. And I just thought to myself, we can't. That's the dark side of the force. And I ended up having a nice breakfast and try to go on with my day. It was a busy day, trying to go on with my day. And it was the day we're supposed to get the Trump indictment, right? But really, I talked about this on the Wanger Show. Shout out to anyone who's come over for the Wanger Show. That Trump was going to be indicted or arrested or a mugshot emerge on this day was told by Trump himself. Though it may still happen. It may happen next week or next month or the 7 years that we've been promised. It may happen. It's a symbol of hope. It's a spiritual victory. Whether or not he would get indicted and fully convicted, it doesn't matter at this point to me. But it was another part of his grift. I think it was that chess move to see hey, I'm going to get arrested on Tuesday. Millions of you should take to the streets. Paraphrasing. I'll give him that. I'm paraphrasing. And it didn't happen, right? Some people took the streets, but mostly the people on the streets were there to mock the people who did show up to support Trump in any way. And the indictment hasn't happened. At the time of this recording, the indictment hasn't happened. And I'm looking forward to that day. Again, looking not because I think it solves anything, not because I think this is 100% that what needs to happen. It's just something that should happen, and it's something that will be a symbol of hope for those who not just have been rooting for it. It's not about rooting for it. He's affected people's lives, right? He's affected people's lives. He's been a lifelong criminal. This goes to me beyond the White House. This goes beyond hush money to Stormy Daniels. This goes beyond, using Michael Cohen to slip that money across the table as a payoff. It goes beyond that. It goes back to just him as a quote unquote property owner, New York socialite, whatever. Hell, this goes for at least his third season and beyond of The Apprentice. And it's just going to be hey, maybe there's some sort of right still left in the world if he's indicted. A historic indictment if it does happen. Conviction, all this stuff. And of all the things he's being investigated for, is the Stormy Daniels one the most important to get? I mean, I think to me they're all equal, but, there's maybe other things. That's the point I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. All that matters is it might happen. We've been told, we've been hoping for years something like this could happen, but we might be on the cusp of it. And I think he was I don't think he was just trying to grift and get people to hit the streets. I think he was testing the waters. He was yelling fire in a theater to see if anyone showed up to burn down the theater with him, right? It didn't happen. I was thinking about this too, man. We got Puddin' Fingers Ron down there in Florida. Which, by the way, I don't want to. There's no part of me that will defend that scumbucket. I've never eaten pudding with fingers, but there's been times in my life where I've lacked utensils and went ahead with it anyway. I think we've all been there. But I think the point of that story about DeSantis and the pudding fingers is I think it wasn't that there was a lack of utensils. It was, this is what he does. And that's, I don't think everyone needs to be a dog owner. I don't. If you immediately don't own a dog or don't like dogs, I don't think ill of you. But when Trump was like, yeah, no dogs for me, it was one of those like, eating pudding with your fingers when spoons and maybe even forks and definitely sporks might be an option, even a knife. I have done that. Holy crap. I have eaten pudding with a plastic knife. God bless me. I'm a man of many skills. I was thinking about this about DeSantis, though, as we are looking towards, when you look towards 2024 and the Republican nomination, most likely, still frightfully enough, could be an indicted Trump. Puddin' Ron or the Big Orange could be the final choices, or could be the choices. And I can't measure the two of them. I want neither of them to be anywhere near the scene. And I was just thinking, at this point in 2023, I think I hate Ron DeSantis more. I look at his face. He's, by the way, 2 years younger than me or something like that. That's what all rage, hate, and children will do for you. All right, the children thing might have, I don't want to insult anyone as parents. But you know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm a Greek god who's preserved in stone and not cracking. Like, I do have nice. You'd be surprised how nice my skin is. You really would. I get comments a lot. You'd be surprised. Everything else, it ain't working. But you see my rosy cheeks, you're like, hey, good skincare routine, which we've discussed around these parts before. Anyways, I was trying to think. So I was trying to measure that. I do believe Ron is more dangerous. He's more calculating. Trump was more of a buffoon, but took that buffoonery all the way to the top. And I think DeSantis has got enough of the normals that might be left on that side, who are full in on that side and never looking anywhere else. He might have him fooled just a little bit. I know some folks. He just might have him fooled a little bit. Now, if you look at what he's doing in Florida, look what he's trying to do in Florida, look what he's saying, all the woke bullshit we talked about last week, the anti-woke, I should say, bullshit. By the way, wasn't that crazy? I talked about wokeness on here, or what it meant to people, the definition of it, where I understood where it came from, and why maybe I shouldn't, it's not a word for me. It's not my experience. I believe in the grand things around it. And then that explodes this past week. I'm not saying I predicted that. It'd be great if I would. Then people would probably flock to my podcast more. I had this thought driving around today of like, the difference between at least Trump at times made me laugh over the course of his lifetime. I'm going to say that. I'm admitting it right here on an audio and video recording. If you're listening to Patreon, I'm not going to release this part as a clip, probably. I've had some self-esteem kick in, some self-loathing about releasing clips again. It's a thing. This one, not going to happen. This part right here. But I only going to say is horrible. He's horrible. The Big Orange is horrible. Over the course of his lifetime, he's done and said some things that have made me laugh. I was a dedicated fan. This is what got me thinking about this. I was a dedicated fan of The Apprentice, at least the first 2 or 3 seasons. Like that, definitely the first 2. I can't remember when he started having the celebrity stuff. I was out, and not even the celebrity fault. Just I was out in general of that. But I mean, we're talking. I was a big fan of Survivor. It was my Mark Burnett programming, right? I was a big fan of Survivor. I watched like 18 of the first 20 seasons or something. I didn't miss them. It was big in our house. Me being my roommates at the time. Exciting stuff, you know. It was like Survivor night. And that went up to like early 2010s. And I was like, oh, Survivor. And, you know, now you got The Apprentice. And if you don't know who Trump is, you don't spend time with Trump. I'm not just talking about personally, but just knowing more about him throughout the 80s when he explodes. You know, you can maybe not like him, not like his vibe, but you can look and with the image that he projected was maybe what you bought into. Successful businessman, the Trump way, books, casinos, hotels. Oh my God, look at, and I like his ties. I own some Trump ties. God, I hope I bet I don't. Oh, I better double check. I got rid of love to suit and tie. I don't have any suits left. But I was buying some Trump ties. I liked it. Solid red, solid yellow, gold, you know, the power colors, all that. I was there on that stuff. I was there on it. No way I'm going to deny it. And that was part of the thing. Now, if you knew the history, like we do now, and it's a different time. Now, there's BTS on everything. We know perhaps sometimes we know too much, but I think this is why I do side on as crazy as these times can get. It could be a good thing. Trump destroyed the USFL, the United States Football League, much in the same way he went into the White House and came out of it. Like, it beat for beat, some of the stuff's the same. Jeff Pearlman's got that great book, Football for a Buck, that I haven't fully read yet, but it covers all that. We just didn't know that. Yeah, he hosted WrestleMania 4 and 5 at Trump's Plaza in Atlantic City. I was like, this guy's a hero. You know, he was in WrestleMania. He's cool. I love The Apprentice. The hair's a little weird, but hey, you know, you're fired. Like, I love that stuff. I was there for it, and he would make me laugh and that kind of stuff. And that was maybe the dangerous part. But the laughter stopped at one point for me. It didn't for other folks. But there's still a hear me out here. There's still a semblance of humor in the man. I think he's disgusting. His humor's disgusting. The things that he says and people he makes fun of, physically challenged reporters and all this, disgusting. But to me, the ability to make someone laugh, genuinely make someone laugh, which he has in episodes of The Apprentice, no way I'm going to deny it to you. It shows something, right? A ray of, I don't know what I don't even know what I'm getting at here, but at least shows me something. Then you look at old Puddin' Fingers, and that dude's making Top Gun parody videos where, you know, I'm the Top Gov, and it's just like, lacks every like sense of humor you can have. He lacks. And you look at his face, and it's all this faux man aggression, this faux, I'm gonna cut you off, reporter. Are you gonna ask a question? No, I asked you, are you gonna ask a question? It's just that. There's nothing to that. It's hollow. It's dangerously hollow. But he ain't funny. He's not creative. He doesn't have just a lick of spirit in anything about him. He's just a platform boot-wearing, short man complex, power-grabbing asshole who's conning people in a different kind of way. And he ain't funny. And that's my dividing. I hope there wasn't a second that anyone thought I was defending Trump. I'm just speaking honestly about it. And when this started, I remember I texted a friend of mine, old friend from junior high, when Trump, because remember, he ran like 2012. I remember he was like early on in the election process. I kind of remember seeing it going, oh, that's interesting. And he was gone, right? Someone could throw up the numbers of what happened in 2012. It was Romney's year to lose, all that kind of stuff. He emerges again in 2014, 2015, does the big go down the escalator. I'm running. And everyone's like, hey. And I text a friend. I'm like, hey, you know what? He's got no chance. I almost verbatim. He's got no chance of winning. But hey, at least he'll entertain us with some humor, right? At least he'll say some funny things. And this is my friend, but I'm texting, very Democrat his whole life. And he was kind of laughing off too. But then we both quickly realized, oh no. Because again, that's part of his grift. That's part of Trump's grift. He's just saying the things that I want to say. He's just telling it like it is. Question anyone who wants to tell it like it is, because what are they saying? What are they really truthfully saying? Most of the time, it's them taking a hammer and bludgeoning everyone else around them. Not that some people don't need to occasionally be told, hey, I'm going to stop you right there, and we just got to get to the truth of the situation, right? That's okay. But none of the I'm going to tell it like it is people are doing that. They're not doing that. And that was when the Trump thing started tipping over. Never had my vote. As I said previously, the existence of Trump on the Republican ticket is not what turned me away from years of being raised and conditioned to be a conservative, which on an individual basis, point by point, maybe there's some things that are, I don't necessarily have a problem with. But the overall view of what turned me, it was not him. It was looking around and going, this guy's crazy, right? And everyone else is going, nah, he's saying what I want to say. It's like, oh, I got it. You're all crazy. I'm out of here. I got to go. And it's a scary time for that kind of stuff. It is absolutely scary, which is why I'm upset at myself for being so upset over something as stupid as movie news. But I'm getting sick of it. And I'm getting sick of those in that industry, many of whom I've shared tables with, many of whom I've had to be in the same space with, office-wise, because that's tipped over as well. There's this thing that's emerged in the Star Wars world, because I'm in it every day, a movie project in the works. Maybe we're going to find some stuff out about it. We had a director, was it Charmaine Abad Chinoy? I don't know her, and I apologize. It makes me seem like a dumb American when I struggle over that. I just can't remember. I should look that up while I'm talking. Anyways, directed some Marvel stuff, like an Oscar winner. I think it did a documentary, won an Oscar. I ain't doing that shit. She's skilled. So she's on board to direct this project with Damon Lindelof kind of being on top of it. And then a writer named Justin Britt Gibson involved and all that kind of stuff. And this emerged as a scoop, right? This was a scoop. Charmaine Obad Chinoy. I want to get it right. Put some respect on that name, Ken. And they have left this project. And this movie might not be happening. Though that's not the actual story. The point of this is why I'm so upset. It's not that another movie, even another Star Wars movie, might be in the works, might be in trouble. A famous creator comes in and it's not quite working out. That ain't the problem. The problem is this isn't old style movie news. This isn't this comes from someone who this is his job, but it's the person who is kicking up dust to survive, right? To get money, to get the name out there, to have some sort of currency. Go listen to a podcast about this and that, which I respect and get. But the way it's handled, and now all Variety, Deadline, anyone, all the majors pick it up. And now the conversation goes to yet another Star Wars film is not being made. And Lucasfilm keeps messing up the movie side. And Kathleen Kennedy is to blame and all this stuff. And certainly not everything's been perfect over there. The Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron project was in fact announced. A great emotional video was made from Patty and it didn't work out. And that's going to happen. And again, nothing's been 100% perfect with Lucasfilm on the Star Wars movies since 2016, when the first time, 2015, with Josh Trank kind of announced as a standalone director of a standalone movie, not involved. Colin Trevorrow, the dweebs who tried to make Solo and that didn't work out, and all those kind of things, and the reshoots, all this bullshit. And if you don't like the sequel trilogies, I don't care. Even if you're listening to me right now, you don't like the sequel trilogy movies, great. God bless you. God bless you. I love them. They're perfection to me in so many ways, and including in their imperfections, because all Star Wars movies and programs have these wonderful, glorious imperfections. But it goes beyond that. The point of this is, we have this cottage industry around movie news that I was had a large part in, and not my part was large, but I was involved in some things that had a larger part into it. And maybe you've heard me say this rant before, but here, let me just get to the point. Lucasfilm never announced this film. It wasn't on StarWars.com. It wasn't anywhere. It was not a panel coming at Star Wars Celebration. The announcement of the Lindelof movie, nothing. It was a scoop by a movie news professional, in the sense that he receives money for what he does, who called sources and this and that. And by the way, I don't doubt it. I do think this project is in the works. And I think a version of it will happen, which, again, is key to the story. So everyone gets excited, as you should. Okay, and if some of you like Lindelof, some of you don't. And, so if you're a Star Wars fan or just a movie news fan, this is exciting stuff. Star Wars in the theater is a big thing. None of it official, right? None of it announced. All of it's supposed to be back room, not secret, like we can't tell anyone, but just we're doing our thing. Everyone gets excited. We at Force Center talked about it. No denial for me on that. But we did talk about it in these terms. Hey, folks, it's not official. We don't know if this is true. We don't know what the finish line will look like. We don't know what they're trying to cross in terms of the finish line. We just don't know. You have a director involved. You have some names. There was this supposed writer's room thing that met at that right for Star Wars Celebration, and Dave Filoni brought his cowboy hat. By the way, if you're not a Star Wars fan and you're listening to this show or you're watching it on the Patreon-only video version, God bless you. I'm sorry, but a lot of names maybe you don't care about. But this is, I'll work to the point as soon as I can. I'm fucking pissed off about it. It was never announced. So now that two of the names who were not officially announced are off the project, a pretty common thing in Hollywood. But I'm not here to lecture anyone on how Hollywood movies happen. We get it. We have enough BTS stuff out there now. Again, we know now. Growing up as a kid, I had no idea what the fuck a development meeting was or someone's in talks. All I know is I went into the movie theater, the Fair Oaks movie theater on Fair Oaks Avenue and Grand in Arroyo Grande, California. Paid $2 for a ticket, even in the 90s. That's where I saw Return of the Jedi for the second time. That's where I saw Young Guns 2 for the first time. Whew. And Die Hard 2. Double feature. Oh, yeah. A night of twos. Or, I walk into the lobby at Festival Cinemas, another part off the 101 freeway in Arroyo Grande, California. It's there down there under a different name. I ended up working there. My movie news was the lobby. I'd see a poster and go, oh, look at that. They're making a sequel to Young Guns 2. Young Guns 2. Look at this. That's great. I'll get Entertainment Weekly, and Entertainment Weekly will come out a month after this poster, and I'll get some news on it. We're past that, and you can't put that back in. And again, there's a lot of things it's important for things to come to light, right? We know more about who people like Trump are because of a society that knows perhaps too much. That's how voices, oppressed voices, harassed and hurt voices, underprivileged voices in pain, that's how they get their message out. So we're in an okay time for that stuff. I want any of that to change. I ain't going back. I don't like going back. I like going forward. But it's how we handle the now that's important. How do we handle the now? It's a measure of a person to me. So this scoop comes out from a scooper looking to put food on a table. And that's a nice way of looking at him. But this movie's happening. And then they're going to announce this at Star Wars Celebration 2023. It's going to be the 2025 movie. They have a 5-year movie plan, and all this is just on sources. Again, legit. This isn't like a lot of YouTube blogs. You can a source says, and their source is their imaginary friend in their mind. These are probably valet parkers at restaurants near Disney or people production assistants. Who knows? Who knows? And yes, by the way, sometimes studios or actors, directors, or PR teams will leak information. So maybe it was Lindelof's team that were like, we really want this movie to happen, so we're going to leak this story. We're going to call up old Scoopy McGee over here. And it was kind of like a Dan Murrow character. I don't want to step on Dan's character. Dan's a good dude. But we're going to call old him over there. Scoops McGee was his name, right? We're going to call, Hothead over here. And Hothead's going to run exclusives and go on his podcast and tell everyone the goddamn story. And again, it's probably a good source. But that could have been Lindelof's people going, yeah, we really want this to happen, so we're gonna leak it, right? Like that Sean Levy guy behind Stranger Things and all the stuff. He has a Star Wars film in the works. That's so not a fact, other than he said it because a story was out there, a rumor was out there, and he like tweeted it. Yeah, this is great. Now you're putting pressure on Lucasfilm. Again, Lucasfilm didn't announce it. So now the project has gone through some changes. What project? We don't know because nothing was announced. And again, Lucasfilm has made mistakes. Benioff and Weiss announced doing like a Star Wars trilogy. I don't know details of that, but Benioff and Weiss eventually go, and it has not maybe emotionally something to do with Game of Thrones, but it had a lot to do with a multi-million-dollar deal from Netflix that they probably couldn't have taken or at least executed properly if they had stayed with Lucasfilm to do a Star Wars trilogy, which would have been 10 years of their life. So they kind of said, hey, we're going to go by yoink, and left. I honestly think if all the facts, again, that would emerge in that, I don't know if Lucasfilm would be at fault. A Rian Johnson trilogy is announced. It's still in play, but, again, I'm not here to defend Lucasfilm, and Disney don't need me to defend them as very successful companies, right? I'm here to defend the fans who are moved by this stuff, who are being trampled over by this dumb fuck movie talk kind of stuff. These people gritting you on these YouTube channels. What's going on at Lucasfilm? Click, 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 click. By the way, I should just make that the title of my headline, my thumbnail. So now everyone's up in arms. Everyone's up in arms over this idea that this project is not happening anymore. Now, again, that's not the case. If you read those stories, and I haven't read all of it, I just Google searched. There's too many of them out there. Too many people picking up the story now. The movie, whatever that movie was or is, could still and probably will very well happen, and probably could and probably will be very much denounced at Star Wars Celebration, and could very well be in that 2025 schedule slot they have. All that could very well still be in place with the same director. Just these names in the early on part of it left or aren't parts of it, parts of the project for reasons we don't know, because no scooper gives a fuck about that. They just want you to know that this happened. Click, click, click on my story. Click, click, click on my story. This is akin to if I was in my kitchen and I thought to myself, I think I want pizza for dinner. I'm going to look up some pizza options. And then somewhere along the way, I go, you know what? I still want dinner. I'm still going to have dinner, but I've decided I want tacos. I'm going to go to Taco Hut. Not going to pizza. But if the scooper reports, I'm hearing from sources inside the house, Francis or Baxter, the Chihuahuas, I'm hearing from sources inside the house, Ken Napzok is thinking about pizza for dinner. He's expressed an interest in pizza for dinner. And then I end up going to Taco Hut, and then suddenly headlines are, once again, Ken fails to have a pizza dinner. He can't get his straight. Pizza's canceled, and they ended up with tacos. And now all the fans out there are upset. We wanted pizza. You were going to give us pizza. Instead, we got tacos. And I'm over here going, I never told you anything about the fucking pizza, you fucks. All I knew was I was going to have dinner, and I'm having a great dinner. You probably would enjoy watching me eat tacos. You'd probably enjoy the tacos from Taco Hut if you just shut up about it and watch the tacos. Instead, you're going to get rage clicks, or you're going to invest in the fact that I might have had a fleeting thought about pizza, or even at some point went to the pizza websites to look up fucking pizza options and decided, you know what, pizza doesn't feel right now. I've changed my mind, and we're going to go have tacos. It's still dinner. But you're over here focusing on the pizza stuff that you weren't even supposed to know about. Because back in the day, we didn't know about that. Back in the day, we walked into the dinner lobby and saw a poster for tacos and went, yes, Ken's having tacos. This is great. I can't wait for dinner with tacos. But now you go in and go, well, you hear that? You see that poster for tacos? It was going to be pizza. But they failed to come to they just fucking failed on pizza. And we want pizza. Come to my angry channel, my angry YouTube channel. I'm a dude in a car, or I've got some, microphones and some friends, probably like these. And we're going to rant about pizza. We deserve pizza. They're giving us tacos, everybody. They're giving us tacos, but we wanted pizza. Don't let them take away your pizza. Because in the 80s, we had a lot of pizza. And we loved our pizza in the 80s. And that's all we want. And because we don't understand that the submarine sandwiches they served in the 90s and early 2000s with the prequel sandwiches, we wanted dinner then. We wanted pizza, and we got sandwiches, and we were upset about the cold cuts. So we're still pissed about that. And now on my YouTube channel, you can watch 3-5 times a week. Don't forget to super chat, fucks. They're still denying us the pizza we wanted. In fact, they were thinking about pizza, but they're giving us tacos. Fuck their tacos. Fuck their tacos. Oh, by the way, a woman made the tacos? Definitely fuck the tacos. Oh, I'm not a sexist. I'm not a misogynist. But I'm leaving the back door open to my YouTube channel. If you want to come in the comments and talk about how tacos are woke and there's too many social justice warriors in Taco Hut, you can come into my YouTube channel. I'm not going to block you. I'm not going to do anything about that. Come on in there. I ain't a misogynistic asshole, but you can be. I got a home for you here. Let's talk about how they took away our pizza. That's what's fucking happening. And it's not necessarily the scooper on the pizza, by the way. The problems with that. But it's a job. Movie news. Army, what was Army Archer, the old, movie news reporter. Pressing the hat. Yeah, I say, Clark Gable, what film are you going to make? It's a thing, man. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with Variety, Deadline, all that kind of stuff. But it's what we do with it. It's what we do with the now that's the problem for me. That's the fucking problem. That's the problem about now. Normal people are looking at these news reports about they're making pizza, and they're buying it, and they're only seeing that. And they don't have ill will in their heart. They liked pizza in 1983. What's these tacos? I wanted pizza. And they fuel that machine. And that machine tramples over us. It tramples over fandoms. It takes over fandoms. And it takes over the lives of people who are underprivileged, less represented, in more of a precarious position in life. Yes, I'm equating it. The overreaction to movie news absolutely is a small microcosm of what's going on in the world. How we take this news, how we talk about pop culture, how we try to understand it as art. I keep saying this. I keep saying this on the shows. I keep saying this on Force Center. I said this on Wangers the other night. It's so fucking funny. I grew up in this era, 70s, 80s, where that was kid stuff. Comic books and cartoons were kid stuff. But guess what? A lot of them were. I'm not saying Transformers in the 80s was high morality tale art. It had probably some good stuff in it. I don't remember it. I liked Soundwave. Razorman. That's why I like Laserbeak. Like that, I like that Transformer. But we were told that it was kid stuff and we have to grow up from it here. But it was art. It was our stories. We were being influenced by it. For better or worse, it was influencing us. We were missing the messages. Comic books for a long time once the code was broken, the comics code, all that kind of stuff. 1960s, Kirby Lee, I know Lee's got his issues that, there's Kirby fans, Lee fans, there's that whole drama. I'm not there for that. But, they were saying things in these comics. They had points. But everyone looked down on it as kid stuff. It was kid stuff. You grow out of it. Star Wars, Star Trek, all that kind of stuff. It's just a TV show. Star Trek was pushing boundaries. Star Trek probably looked down upon by many in that generation of a certain age. The kids were listening. First, interracial kiss on broadcast television. Kids were watching. Change starts to happen. Art starts to speak to the people that need to hear it. And then the generations above, or not even the generations above, the people around it don't get it, will deride it and talk down to it, and talk down to you for being influenced by it. But for better or worse, it influenced us. And now this whole industry emerges, explodes into 2010s. We love movies. We love comics. They're making these movies because a lot of the people making movies were these kids. And they realize it's their art. And they want to tell their own stories in this world. And the superhero movies explode. Star Wars is back. Game of Thrones is popular. D&D moves out of the shadows of a basement and is now one of the most popular forms of entertainment out there, with people making good money and having great careers doing it. God bless them. I know some of them. It's not just nostalgia. It's just we're telling more of these stories. But there's still a lot of people that look down upon it. They don't think it's part of the world at large, and there are people in the space, in the movie talk space. They look down on it. They don't think how serious it is. So you think it's great to sit there and rant about Star Wars. You think it's great to attack some of the creators or decision makers in it because you don't like the movies. As I always will say, is your right. It's your right to not like them. But it's your responsibility to talk about that in a way that does not do harm to those making it or to those that enjoy it. And so many people I know personally fail at this. And I'm done talking to these folks. I'm muting them. I'm blocking them. In some cases, I'm following them. I can't be associated with these fucks anymore. I'm over them. And these are people who I think are well-intentioned, whose political views, in many cases, I think I would align with. And political views not in terms of D's and R's, but just the look of the world, the understanding of the world. But yet when it comes down to talking about this stuff and talking about movie news and the way they talk about it, the way they review, they're not reviewing anything. They're not discussing anything. They don't know what these movies are about. They're just giving their hot takes on it. God bless them. And in the process, they're doing their part to destroy our art. They're doing their part to destroy the conversations around them. And if you do not think that the way in which you talk about movie news affects the way in which you talk about politics, does not affect the way you look at the world, you're sadly mistaken. And as I always say, it does not mean I don't want to sit there and sometimes have, silly shows. I watch ghost hunting shows. Do I think ghost hunting shows are high art? I play Fortnite. Do I think that's high art? I do Fortnite clips on YouTube. I have fun doing them. Occasionally I put a joke in there that's making some sort of political stand, but that's not why I'm doing it, right? You can just enjoy the stuff. But when it comes to the big things that are influencing generations, Force Awakens is coming up on 10 years old. It has influenced generations, whether you like it or not. You may have grown up on pizza, and dinner might be tacos now, but you have to let the generation enjoying those tacos enjoy it, because it's not just fun. Like I see sometimes there's don't take away people's joy. I don't always agree with that. Meaning, that's too simplified a way to look at it. I'm not saying just let people be happy. I'm saying let people be influenced. Let people's lives be affected by this stuff and realize the importance of it. And realize the importance of if you have a YouTube channel or a podcast or a friend group in which you're all bashing these films that you clearly fail to understand, number one. But even if you do and you don't like them, the way in which you talk about them, the way in which you talk about the performers, the actors, the characters, those in the decision-making processes, it is you are putting your foot on the back door so some really destructive, harmful people can come into your space and tear down the walls of a civilized society and cause harm to those just trying to get on by and be influenced and enjoy things and learn from things and understand things. It's a disconnect. So that's why I'm upset at movie news, because it's no longer just movie news. If it was handled in an appropriate way. I hear there's a rumor that they're making a Star Wars film with Lindelof and team behind it. Oh, that's pretty interesting. We know it's not official yet here, but let's talk about the possibilities about it. That seems pretty cool. Do you like Lindelof? Oh, you like Lost? You like Watchmen? Oh, you didn't. You don't. Okay, you didn't like, what was the other? Leftovers? Oh, you didn't like that? Okay, great. What about this Justin Britt Gibson? Have you heard of stuff? Oh, okay. This is fun to speculate on what this might be. Oh, hey, guess what? Turns out this report that, hey, maybe that's not happening. Maybe the director's still going to be involved with Lindelof. Hey, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that means. Let's talk about what we might get. Hey, looks like they were making pizza, but we might get tacos. Do you want to have tacos? What do you think about the tacos? Do you want to try it? You should try tacos. You want to stick with pizza? Okay, good. If you talk about it like that, respectful of the process, respectful of the art, but instead, what everyone does is we take it. It's not just about a world that takes things and makes content. I'm a content creator for whatever the fuck that means. All right? I'm not trying to be David Bowie. Wish I could be. My eyes match, number one. Two, I don't have that skill. I'm not saying I'm that kind of artist. But I'm not sitting here talking about Star Wars as if it's some dumb little fun thing that I can shit on to make myself feel good, to make myself feel I have some sort of ownership over it, an owner of the art, and to deny everyone's experiences and perspectives. I just despise that shit. I despise that shit. And it goes into everything else, man. This happened. This happened this weekend, too. I'm a big fan of U2, all right? You don't need to be a fan of U2. I don't need you to be a fan of U2, all right? It's okay if you're not a fan of U2. And in fact, 5 of the reasons you list, I might be like, yeah, no, I get it, totally. Later albums. Yeah, Bono's ego. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, Bono's hair. Okay, cool. Edge's beanie. Watch yourself. I don't need you to love U2. U2 saved my life. The solo music of George Harrison, the music of U2. I'd been fans before. I'd been super fans, especially of George Harrison before. But in the early 2000s, when I was really dark and depressed, once had a loaded gun to my head, once almost jumped off a building. It wasn't like the music of Bono and The Edge and Larry and Adam and George Harrison and everyone rang through my ears and I turned around and saved my life. I don't mean that when I say it. But in my darker hours during that time period, when the church with a capital C had failed me, and I do mean that, there's times in my life where I think I've failed God, but the church, not God, failed me in the early 2000s. Which does not mean I want to erase the church. I just want to tax it. My folks were struggling to understand how to deal with it. I was also didn't live at home. My friends didn't know how to understand it. I was working and trying to survive in a very toxic masculinity-based kind of industry where men don't talk about feelings. What are you, a pussy? We don't do that here. All that kind of stuff. All that it sounds like a stereotype or cliche to say, but that's what it was. Couldn't talk about that, and it was their music, U2's music. It was the solo music of George Harrison. Both the connector sides being they're very spiritual in nature. Saved me. I took solace in them. I was able to find warmth and comfort and maybe a little bit of understanding and a drive to go forward. You don't know that story, and I don't need to tell you that story, and quite frankly, you don't need to hear that story. But U2 is back in the limelight again right now, and it's a different kind of limelight. They'll never be what they were in terms of popularity and influence. But they got songs of surrender. They're redoing their songs, which I kind of enjoy. And I enjoy the concept of them doing it 50 years in, right? They're coming up on 50 years as a band or whatever. And they're like, hey, let's look back at what we did. What did we do? And do we want to try the songs mean anything now? Do they mean anything ever? Let's look at it. We're getting to that phase of our life. Let's look at what we've done. And it's an interesting artistic approach. And they got a documentary on Disney Plus now, hosted by David Letterman, who's himself is 75. Crazy to think. And this has kicked up the dust of U2 discourse, which is not as powerful or vibrant as Star Wars discourse, but I saw people doing this. It's the old, U2's overrated. U2 sucks. U2 sucks. I even saw some of them people I know. So you're putting yourself above it. You're owning them. You're above them as a fan. You're above the artist. They suck. And again, not every band is great. Not every U2 song is great. I get that. 10, 15 years ago, it might have been different. But you don't know my story of them saving my life. That's a dramatic statement, but I'll stand by it here now. You don't know that story. Like I said, you don't need to. I don't need to tell you. But you're overrated, you're sucked, and everything certainly does not allow my perspective. It's all done for a cheap click on Twitter. It's all done for a like and a heart and a ha-ha. Good for you. But again, that's fine. But then I also find it's denying history. You're denying the actual history of a band that changed the world in a couple times in terms of their popularity and their influence and their style. They come from a land, Ireland. They come from a culture in which they emerged in sort of a punk-like scene, rebelling against some of the traditional conservative overlords holding them down. It's a fascinating story, tied deep to their culture, deep to their community. Live Aid, Joshua Tree, Rattle and Hum. We're going to go away and dream it all up again. They come back with Octon Baby. Pop is crazy. Zeropa's interesting. They go away for a bit, try some stuff, and they come back. Beautiful Day, All That You Can't Leave Behind era. They reapply for the job of the best rock band in the world. All that kind of stuff. If you didn't like any of it, and you didn't like them at any point, that's your journey. I don't need you to like them. But to sit there and say they're overrated, to sit there and say that they suck, you're denying actual history. You're denying their important place. You're denying their influence. You're denying the experience of those who were enthralled by them, entertained by them, moved by them, saved by them. So why are you doing that? That's the biggest thing that's changed in me. Used to do the schmoes news bits and everything, and a lot of it was done on this base of, I'm just going to be callous and snarky. I'm going to shit on things. I'm going to make fun of people because I can. One of my best moments and jokes doing the schmoes news, for those who remember, I did a joke when they announced they were going to reboot the Mummy movie franchise, right? That was what's going to happen, right? And I made some joke at the expense of Brendan Fraser, suggesting he's unemployed, he's out of the business, and he's, I forget exactly what the joke was, but it got a huge laugh. Everyone in that studio laughed. And again, it was funny, right? In terms of jokes, it was funny. And it was just jokes, man, right? It was just jokes. This is why I hate comics. And I'm just making jokes, man. It's just words, man. I'm just getting a laugh. I made that joke at the expense of a celebrity I did not know personally. A celebrity who had a nice career but seemed to have vanished. And I just assumed that, he'd probably feel pretty low and bad about that. And, whatever. I'm just making fucking jokes. I'm the schmoes news guy, and everyone here laughed. And by the way, everyone there, again, it was a pretty funny joke. They should have laughed. And then it starts to kind of emerge that, Brendan's career was affected by, like, sexual harassment. I think even to the point of, you could say, sexual assault. He comes out with this. a man saying that, which is, it's definitely, I'd say, a harder journey for women, but and others. But he says that, because it was a man that did it to him, and the idea that I couldn't say anything, and men are expect, when some dude grabs your ass at a party, fucking punch him. That's the downside. One of the many downsides of toxic masculinity. The reason I want to stamp it out as much as I do, it isn't just the outward stuff. Isn't just the I'm a macho man, I pose with my AR-15 and that makes me cool and that's my outlook on the world. That's the damage, and then the damage that they actually do to society and partners and that kind of stuff. But toxic masculinity hurts the men, right? There's that side of it. So now you have a sexually assaulted a man who's like, I can't say it because I'm expected to deal with it as a man. I'm expected to just brush it off. I'm expected to just go fight the guy in the parking lot. And that's not the way it really works. I'm hurt and I'm affected and my career's affected. And then next thing you know, he's out of it. And he ain't the young six-pack ab Tarzan guy. He's a different build. He has the audacity to age. And now, flash forward to just a week or so ago, he's winning an Oscar. Ain't life great for him? But he has this entire period of time where none of us knew his story. None of us knew those. None of us could imagine those struggles. He was an Encino man. His life must be great. And I remember when that story, the sexual assault story, emerged, I remember thinking, that fucking joke I told is out there. And I think since they've pulled down all the tapes and everything like that, but I'll say it and own it now. But it's out there. And I thought on that day, I ain't lying to you. Hand to the God I still believe in. I thought, oh my God, I fucking made fun of that dude. I made fun of the fact that he wasn't working. I did it. Why? Just to make a joke. It's just movie news. I was just making a joke about movie news. But I did not allow, my words did not allow for his perspective, his experience, his journey. Didn't even think about it. We need jokes. Needling people's okay. And punch up, punch down, all that stuff. We've had enough of those words. But you know what I mean? Teasing your buddy, making a joke. It's needed. And I'm still there for that. And making fun of the stranger you see on the street corner that does something weird. Hey, we're all going to do it, and I'm going to do it again. I want to be better, but I get it. But in that moment, in this small platform I had, I was just telling a joke. And the joke I told was about someone who had experienced something pretty horrible. It affected his life, it affected his career. The fact that he won an Oscar is a 1 in a million, once in a lifetime occurrence. That's not happening for most folks. It's crazy that this Oscars, we got 2 sort of big redemption wins in the Oscars with Brendan Fraser and Ke Huy Quan. Good old short round, right? It's amazing we got those 2 stories. That is so rare, not just in Hollywood, but in life. In the meantime, I'm out there, some fucking scrub and a misfitting suit, trying to be a jokey newsman, making fun of this dude. I felt so terrible. All of this matters now because all of this is so public. All of this is so out there. We are in an era of content, so all your words do matter. How you talk about things, including expressing how you dislike them. YouTube, movies, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, all of it. How you even explain your dislike matters. It's important because everything is out there. Everything is to be absorbed. Everything is to be heard and processed, internalized. You do not know who you might be hurting. And if you don't care, then you're part of the problem. Are there things like selective outrage? Thank you, Chris Rock, for making that so popular. No, I didn't love the special. Didn't see all of it. Didn't need to see all of it. Are there cases of that? Are there people, especially on the quote unquote left of things, that are sometimes performative? Oh, you better believe it. Is everyone perfect? Turns out no. Am I perfect? Far from it. I'm a mess. I'm a disaster. I just got this letter right here is from another credit card company saying, thanks, but no thanks. Your card's capped. Now you can't function and live. No. I'm a mess. I'm a mess. But I will no longer be, as long as I can control it and be aware of it. I will no longer be that person whose words can be used to shut off the perspective of someone else, to not listen to the perspective of someone else, or leave the goddamn back door open for sexist, racist, fascist, any of those types. We are in a dangerous time because it's all interconnected. And a lot of those people in that space, a lot of those people, those YouTube channels, some of them making millions of dollars. God bless them. Save it and spend it well, my friends. Enjoy the finer things in life. You sold your soul to earn it, but you got it. You got scoreboard, because life's about winning, right? And I got the zeros up on that scoreboard. But all of it matters. Do not talk down to pop culture. Do not be dismissive of pop culture. Do not overlook the importance of how you discuss the why. Because all of it is intertwined. Is there an actual cultural war going on? I think so. I think so. I don't know who started it, who's in it, and who wants it to go. I don't know. I don't care. But there is one particular side of this supposed culture war that went straight for pop culture, went straight for the so-called fluff and the kid stories and the silly things, and they controlled and dominated the space. So that their words and their agendas could get into these silly little, and we're just talking about movie news, we're just doing jokes. I'm not a sexist. I just think this character's horrible. All 15 of these characters are horrible. The fact that they're all women or people of color, that's a coincidence. Yeah. That's where they went first. They try to go for our art. They try to go to the conversation about art. Because if you can control the art or shut off the art, you can shut off or control the people. Hot scoop. You're looking at it wrong. We'll be back after this. Thank you to a lot of people who are continuing to support my journey here, talking a little business here. I do want to make sure a lot of you are aware that more than just kicking the dust off my YouTube channel tires, there's going to be a lot more coming there. If you enjoyed Saturday Night Napzok, the satire-based program I did for about 2 years solid there, still here on the channel, on the podcast feed. If you enjoyed that, those characters aren't dead. And it's certainly not dead in a podcast form. It just took a lot out of my soul. But I'm going to repurpose some things from that and reuse some things in a different way, and also create some new things around a lot of those characters and segments. A lot of them will live on my YouTube channel. I just felt that it wasn't just that I hadn't seen it before. I hadn't wanted to see it before, if that makes sense. So because of that, some changes afoot. Twitch.tv/Napzok will always exist, and occasionally it may pop up on that. It's always good to have your options, but regular game streaming will cease to happen there at the time of this podcast this week. second to last week in March. But it's coming to an end. Meaning, and the game streams have moved to YouTube, and I'm trying to centralize things. I have been too scattered as a creator, as an artist, as a performer. It's hard to in this world where everything is content. It's easy to get lost, and it's harder, even more harder, to say, "Hey, I'm Ken Napzok. Invest in me, in my dumb face. Invest in me, and go to these 19 different places to find me." There's always going to be some differences. Pop Rocket Radio limps on with Mixcloud. So you have to go there. Saturday Night Napzok, the Blathering, the Napzok Network podcast feed. Go subscribe over there, your podcast catcher of choice. Stand-up's a little bit different, but, Casterly Talk, the failed box score heroes, all this stuff. Too much at times. But I'm never going to stop, and that's the problem. I had to come to terms with it. I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to tell myself, hey, if you want to do a music show, oh my God, you should seek that out and go this way. If there comes along my way, along the path, that there becomes a different way to approach doing pop rock and radio, where I can just guarantee that more people can hear it. You just can't really hear it on Mixcloud. Mixcloud's not well, you can if you listen, but it's not a perfect app, and there's some problems with that there. So, I'll make that change. And if it ends up being viable to go back to Twitch, I'll go back. I couldn't invest in Twitch the way it was not going to pay in the way that I needed. And I'm talking about actual money. It wasn't going to pay in the way I need it to pay by doing it once a week. But even if I just stream once a week on YouTube, it's not even about the money. It's about the activity on that channel, getting more people back to there. I always joke that there's always those people that pop into streams and be like, or I appear on the Wanger show or something. They're like, oh my God, where have you been since 2018? And I always joke about it. It stings, it hurts, but I get it. I get why. So now there's one spot to go, or one less spot to go, but that's a big one. I was sharing these Fortnite clips, TikToks, Reels, whatever. We put them on shorts as YouTube, and for me, getting good numbers at least, not big life-changing numbers, but when a short of mine gets 2,000 views, that's good stuff for me right now. I hope to double, triple, quadruple that along the way, but it was just, I had this thought of like, great, if you're on YouTube and you see a Fortnite clip, and you go, oh, that was kind of funny. This asshole's kind of witty. Let me watch more of him. Oh, I got to go to Twitch. Even if you have a Twitch account, you gotta then leave YouTube and follow me to Twitch and find out when I'm streaming. Instead, you could just subscribe to the YouTube channel and find me there. So with that has come things like YouTube memberships, since we will not have the Twitch subs anymore. You can subscribe to my channel, but for a small thing, it's $1.99. I see less than $1 of that, but I wanted to keep the price low. You can become a monthly member of the channel. We will have members-only streams, and you do get some of the emotes and that kind of stuff. I'm going to unveil 2 veins of merch, but they'll be easy to find. Coming soon will be if you go to Patreon, make sure you double-check your level and change it if you need to. That might cause me to lose some money. I understand it up front, but hopefully build long-term Patreon relationships. There's a merch level. I have the design. I think I'm sitting on it. No, I'm not sitting on the design. I have the design. The merch is ready. Right around or before Star Wars Celebration, which is in April 7th or whatever. I'm going to put that merch up. I'll make it live on Patreon, and I got a cool thing I think you'll like. But in addition to that, I think we're going to have some merch that's YouTube only, not even TeePublic. TeePublic is, God bless them, not a bad company, but I'm seeing 50 cents, $1 once every 3 months. It's nothing. I also don't put energy into it, right? Because again, it's another place to go. It's another place to find me. TeePublic. So now there's going to be merch on the YouTube channel. I think I want to, if anyone out there listening wants to design or wants to help me design, I will compensate as always. But a team, I want it to be Team Zoc, which is the silly name I had for my YouTube membership page. Merch related to that, hats and that kind of stuff. And all of it designed to, one, yes, generate some funds. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. Literally, I need a new pair of shoes. And keep up the interest and just allow me to do more things I want to do. I've got some YouTube short ideas based on Saturday night Napzok stuff that I'm excited about. And I'm actually excited, even though I'm hanging by the end of the rope. I'm hanging by it. And I'm like, bing, bing, bing. All the fingers are coming off. But I'm okay with it. And I want to thank you all, as always, for listening and supporting, sharing the show, joining me on my adventures. A lot of you, what's never lost on me is a lot of you invest in me over a title of a show. And I think sometimes I overlook that, and sometimes I take that for granted. And maybe you all experience that, right? We are not our occupations. We're not our jobs. Even when those jobs are doing great things and affecting people, that's still not who we are. We are more than that. And I think what's always been interesting for me, and what I've really struggled to focus on, is I want people to be fans of Saturday Night Napzok. I want people to like the Blathering. I want them to invest in the titles, because that's how I arrived on this digital media scene. I was part of great brands. And at various times they were all great. Schmoes Know was a great brand at one time that I loved being part of. It's no more, right? I was part of Screen Junkies, which at one point was a uber popular, successful brand. It barely exists in a fandom way, but it's there. Collider. And so I looked at the title and forgot to invest in my own value along the way. And I've had moments since 2018 when I was let go, but still maintained a freelance position with Collider until January 2020, and that allowed me to hide my or stop my search for my true self and my true worth. But we are to the point where I had there's desperation, right? There's need to put money in your pockets and food on the table, but there is some great freedom in that. The danger is, as Jeff Bridges sings in the movie Crazy Heart, sometimes falling feels like flying for a little while. So I want to be careful about that. But oddly, I'm excited in the face of complete extinction. And that's okay, because I am not a title. I am not a show. I am me. I'm a boy. My name is Anakin. And you are who you are. You are you. You are not a title. The titles are part of you. I'm an attorney. I'm a father. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. I am a gay male. I am a drag queen. I am a transgender woman. All those things are titles that are true and represent you, but they are not you. And I want to thank you all for investing in me when sometimes I don't know what me is. And I hope I can return the investment in all of you, because you are you. And that's the important thing. And that's the win. And I love y'all. Thanks for listening. I think I need to go drink or cry into my drink. That's the Blathering. Bye.